Town. The most famous goal of Chris Billy's life.
Is this the moment for Lee Fowler? It is. Take your place in Division 2, Huddersfield Town.
European Steve Simonson's boots now. He's missed. Steve Simonson clears the frame of the goal and collapses in a heap of tears. Huddersfield Town are promoted. Mustafa Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Hello and welcome back to something a little bit different. So joining me now in season preview, I've got Tom Bradshaw. How are you doing, Tom?
I'm not bad, mate. I'm not bad. How are you doing? You good?
Good. Yeah, good to see you. Right. Every year, I think the fun bit for you is the kits, isn't it? So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit about the football kits this season. And Town have released 3 that we're quite looking forward to seeing. So I tend to buy them for my little boy, and he wears them when he plays football or whatnot. But I think what we'll do, so if you're watching on YouTube, I'll pop the kits on the screen. And if you're not, we're going to describe it anyway, so you're not missing out on anything. Right, Tom? So the benchmark, the flag bearer, is always the home shirt, isn't it? Town's home shirt. So what have you made to Town's home shirt? I mean, it had a really nice little intro video, didn't it? And they've really sort of upped the game, haven't they, this year on the video work? And I think eagle-eared people, I don't know if eagle-eared is a thing, will have heard Danny Kerrane on the latest one as well. So there is a little bit of pod representation there, loosely. This home kit, I quite like it. Well, there are shades, I think, of the not entirely, but a little bit of the Premier League season, don't you think? With the sort of like the trim down the outside of the blue. What have you made of it, Tom?
I think it's a very solid home shirt. I absolutely love the shade of blue. I always think that's quite a contentious decision, a contentious opinion in Town shirt kind of standings. How dark do you go? How light do you go? But I think this is pretty spot on. I mean, the funny thing is, in the little group we've got Matt, Cozzy made a little funny joke about how
Cozzy's jokes are never funny.
They're never funny, no. But about how it's linking it to the textile industry, and and then if you scrolled up a couple more messages, that was one of the first thing I said, and I was being very serious about it. And I quite like that, how they have kind of linked it in with Huddersfield's history in the textile industry, because it is so rich. I think it's a really nice shirt, and I think of the whole picture of it as well. Black socks, absolutely beautiful. But yeah, that dog tooth pattern kind of outlining each stripe is really good. And then first time we've had pinstripes as well, which is interesting. I think they've done a really good job with this. Logo's not too overbearing or anything like that either, because looking at some of the other shirts in the league, I think a logo can almost kill a kit sometimes. So I am really liking it. And I mean, I was joking with my mate earlier about this. He says every year I say, "Oh, I might get that one." I never really end up getting it unless I get it right at the end of the season in the sales, like the Titan Yorkshireman I am. So yeah, I would give this a good solid like 8 out of 10. I think, Matt.
Nice. I do like it. What do you make of the badge? I mean, we've probably done this before on the podcast, but the badge itself for Town, what are your thoughts on it in general, on the kit? I don't like the shield. The white shield drives me mad. I just think it's such a waste. It's just a negative waste of space on there. And I think it came in under the Sean Jarvis watch, didn't it? I'm not bothered about the Terrier that much anymore. I think initially people were a little bit objectionable to change because they liked the old one. I don't like the frilly stuff either. I'm not big on that, but it's Huddersfield Town, isn't it? It's got the 3 stars. It's got your I think it's the Queen Elizabeth Tower, isn't it? Or is it the Queen Victoria? I can't remember which one it is. Queen Victoria Tower.
Yeah, I think so, isn't it? Yeah.
Castle Hill. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like all that stuff. I just don't. It's the shield which kind of offends me the most, because it's just such a bad use of space, isn't it? And the thing is, when you then see that badge on websites, etc., like when we're in the Premier League, for example, anyone who played Fantasy Premier League would look at the badges across the top of the screen. You couldn't tell what Huddersfield's were because it had that stupid shield around it, and it's just. I'm just not a fan of that shield. And when you look back at some of I know you're wearing an older kit there, and I don't think there's a shield on that one. It looks so much better like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, just lovely embroidered straight into the shirt, and you just get the silhouette of the shirt, which is really nice. So, yeah, I'd totally just sack the shield off as well. But I think it looks a lot better when it's embroidered than it does kind of in a graphic, which is the one kind of positive I'd give the badge. But yeah, I'm kind of with you. Sack the shield off in the future.
I've bought the kit for my little boy, and the sponsor is more of your stick-on kind of variety. He's not wore it yet because Town do sort of like really odd sizes for kids. It's like either I think they miss out a year. So they do like I can't remember off the top of my head. I can have a look on here because we're on the website, aren't we? But they tend to do sort of like 2 to 3, then miss 3 to 4, and then do 4 to 5 and miss 5. They kind of miss years out. So it's a little bit big for him at the minute. But yeah, it's there. Look, so they don't do 5 to 6, which is ideally his size. So I've got the 6 to 7 for him. So there is that. So the home kit, I think we both like it. I think they've done a good job. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to be the ignorant one in the room, and I didn't quite understand how it's a nod to the textile industry. Are they sort of saying that the patterns are weave patterns? Is that what it is, or
yeah? So it's just the dog tooth pattern is a very classic textile pattern that you get. I don't think it was one. It's not like a pattern that was kind of invented in Huddersfield, but when you look into like Huddersfield cloth and how kind of global it was back in day, like people used to buy it from all over the world and everything. So yeah, it's
Kings and Queens, mate. Kings and Queens.
Exactly. It's just a proper little nod to that. And then pinstripes as well is a very kind of textile-y thing. So yeah, I think they've done a nice job with it. And it's you can tell they've actually put some time into the design. It's not just a template, is it? With different colours changed kind of thing.
Yeah, there's rumours as well that this might be the last Umbro kit with us. So we'll see how and if we do go out like this, it's a decent one to go out on, isn't it? Price wise is interesting because they've obviously put the price up £55, but there's the 10% off season card holders. So they've obviously tried to kind of like begrudgingly put the price up and then look at ways they can reduce it. I'm not sure if that's better for tax or not. I'm not a business owner, so I couldn't tell you. But price wise, £55 is quite a lot in the modern world. But when you look at the England kit, it's about half the price, isn't it? So there are worse out there, and I think Huddersfield. The problem is, I wouldn't let Huddersfield have much of a say in the price point either, because they tend to just sell the shop rights to Umbro, whoever the manufacturer is, don't they? So and then they usually pay a flat rate. And then they take most of the profits from things out, I think, is the way it goes. But we'll move on to the away kit. And I love this one. Because me and you are probably going to say similar things here. Nostalgia is always a brilliant drug, isn't it? It's the best one. And, well, not that I've tried any, but it's always the best one, Tom. And I loved this Millennium kit at the time. And one of my mates, I lent it to one of my mates at the time, and I never got the original one back. I'm still a little bit upset about that, and I don't see him at all anymore. So I don't think he's probably got the kit anymore, which is disappointing. No. So to see this one come out was decent. My only gripe so far is the order one for Charlie, my 6-year-old, but there are no sizes for kids under things at the minute. So they've only got junior away shirts, which are your YS. So they don't seem to have any kids or toddler ones at the minute. I don't know if that's going to be coming out soon or not. Well, hopefully it is. But I love this, mate. The sponsor looks better on this kit as well.
Yeah, it does.
I suppose that helps, doesn't it, with it not being a striped shirt. There's the collar there as well. It's not just your crew neck. The actual use of space for the badge looks decent as well because it fits in with the kit. I know there's a reason, isn't there? Umbro have kind of changed a couple of the badges to fit in with some color schemes. I think it's to do with an anniversary, isn't it? You might have to correct me on that one, Tom. But for me, I like this kit a lot. It's got the second star for the 100 years since the second league title win last year, and I like it. I think it's a really good nod. I think this is one of the better nods back to kits that they've done, because obviously we had the yellow one the other year, didn't we? Which was supposed to be the Vi Leader one, which was decent. I think the thing is you have to make them different enough for people to buy them, yet also not stray too far that people don't understand the nostalgic effect. And it is a balancing effort. And I just think they've nailed this one. I think they've got it absolutely spot on.
I couldn't agree anymore. I think absolutely nailed it. It's a beautiful shirt, like absolutely beautiful shirt. We already knew the colours worked really well, but like you say, it's not too much of a direct kind of rip off of the original, but it does everything perfectly right, doesn't it? And and it looks really good when they're playing in it as well. It looks really nice, doesn't it? Some of the photos of them out in Austria, lovely shirt.
This is the kind of shirt that I'm going to come on to sort of a contentious opinion shortly, but this is the kind of shirt you can kind of wear happily with a pair of jeans, for example, and it doesn't look out of place as well.
Yeah, with you on that one. I would wear it to maybe a smart dinner.
A smart dinner. A Wendy's or something like that.
Yeah, I think you could get away with it, you know.
Yeah. Oh dear. What score are you giving this one? So 8 out of 10 for the home kit, for the away one?
Oh, this is I mean, I actually don't see anything wrong with this kit, so I'd just give it a 10 out of 10. I think it's beautiful. It's best kit. It's the best Umbro kit they've done, I think, since we've had Umbro again, since they've come back for me.
The only thing I could point out that I don't like about it is that Aaron Moy's not wearing it, but that's never so, you know, it's as good as you can get, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So again, we're happy with this, and I think probably the most contentious one of the bunch, which kind of split opinion, is the third kit, Tom. It's a bit different. It's got aspects of the stadium into the front, doesn't it? You can see the truces, the banana truces as they're called, and parts of the stadium. I think Pete O'Toole's been involved with the design as well, hasn't he? This is a bit of a Marmite one, I think, isn't it? It's either people love it or they hate it, don't they?
Yeah, I thought Peter had been involved with it as well, because I thought I can't confirm or deny if he actually has or not, and I couldn't find kind of.
It looks like his drawings, doesn't it?
It does really look like his drawings, and I kind of said that to my mate. I was like, "Has Peter done some of that?" But I couldn't kind of see anywhere
maybe he hasn't. Maybe
online, maybe them saying it, but. I think it is. I think that's kind of why I like it as well, because it does look very similar to maybe something he would do graphically. I rate it. I don't think it's as nice as the away shirt, but I think what I really like about it is the use of the stadium, and it's nice to kind of just bring up that we have been in that stadium for so long now, and give it a bit of a nod. And I mean, it is a bit weird that it's on an away shirt, but like I think it's really nice how they've done it. Round collar as well. I think it's a long time since we've had like a full on round collar, which is good. But I mean, I'm always a fan of a red and black town away shirt. I think it's kind of my go-to color if I was ever going to pick one. So not really any complaints from me. Maybe the badge could be it's
a different red. It looks like a different red, doesn't it?
Maybe I think it's because it's the white on red that it just brings out like that red in a different way. So maybe if that's black, it just blends in a bit more, but it probably then gets lost in the design. So, out of the three, probably not the top of the list for me, but I'd still, I think across the board they've done really well this season. And if you were going to kind of put Town in a position in the league down to kits, would definitely be top two for me.
Right. So I put some polls out earlier in the summer as well. June 25th was the new Huddersfield Town home kit, which even had Cozzy praising Umbro, didn't it? And Cozzy hates Umbro with a vengeance. And it's all to do with that he doesn't like the training wear. Whereas I used to have to wear some of the Puma stuff, and I detested the Puma stuff because it's like, have you ever gone shopping to Reese? It's expensive, it's nice, but if you're not tall and thin, it doesn't fit properly, and it gathers around just underneath the man boobs and does not make a pretty sight for anybody. And the Puma was like that for me. But great visual for anybody. so but the polls themselves, we had only 59.1% thought it was a saucy little number. 35% just said it's okay, and then 5.8% said it's a waste of cloth. Poor. But I think generally only just short of 6% don't like it really. So that shows a success, doesn't it? In the numbers, we had 600 people, just under 600 people voted. So 59% loved it, 35% okay, which is fairly decent, especially because Huddersfield Town fans, we can be a little bit difficult to please, I think. And we're speaking for ourselves, I guess, on that one. But the options for the second kit were love it, it's okay, or nah, I don't like it. And only 3.7% didn't like it. I mean, I don't know what these 3.7% are. 14.7% said it's okay, whereas 81.7% loved it. So that's a real success, isn't it, for the shirt?
Yeah.
And the more contentious one and the closer one was the third kit. 39.4% loved it, which is good. 31.4% said it's okay. 19.1% said, what the deuce is that? And then 10.1% were reserving judgment. And I have a bone pick with this kit. So if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see what I mean. If you're not, I'll do my best to describe it. But the kit itself, I do like the front, with the bits in the stadium. Those are like the girders in the stadium with the holes in. I think they're really smart, and I think it's clever. And I'll be very surprised if Pete O'Toole didn't actually do it, because it just stinks of O'Toole, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If you like. What I don't like is the back.
Yeah.
The plain red. To go from that brightness and the vibrant scenes, if you like, on the front to a plain red back, just no for me. But it's because of the shirt numbers, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's why they've had to do it. That you wouldn't be able to get a shirt number on the back of that. That would make sense.
They could have had white. It could be white
round black. It could have maybe worked.
Think it could have worked, but
I think there are guidelines that are Football League guidelines which are a bit. I think they're bringing in.
Right.
They might be bringing in squares back as well, which I don't particularly like that much. But the shirt, I don't really like how it drops off. I like the front. I think it's really smart. I just don't like how it just reverts to a plain red back. I think that kind of spoils it slightly.
Yeah.
But that's that. But I do like the front. I think it's quite smart. So I think I saw someone compare it to Hull's 1992 Tiger thing, with a real thing. And I kind of understood that, but I think it's a lot smarter and it means something. But I think you're right as well with the badge. The badge with the white background does kind of bring out a strange difference in the red, doesn't it? And makes it a bit more rose colored, if you like.
Yeah, it does.
Overall, what are you giving it then out of 10?
So what I've given a 10 out of 10, a 8 out of 10. I'd probably also give this one like a 7 out of 10. Okay. I think like I said, I think they've done very, very well with all the playing kits this season. Like really good stuff.
Yeah, I think so. In terms of the goalkeeper kits, they're not specifically available just yet, but as I go back to htfc.com, I think if you go onto the if you go onto the players page, I think it shows the goalkeepers. Quite interesting. My internet's growing incredibly slowly and ruining this little segue, by the way. But the pink kits themselves, then, Tom, have you managed to have a quick look at them? I mean, I can bring it up on screen now. So again, if you're watching on YouTube, I will bring up the goalkeeper kit here.
It's very pink. It is very pink.
In fact, it's got Lee Nichols on a. In fact, I've currently got Lee Nichols exercising his quads, maybe.
Oh yeah, he is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got kind of like a snazzy trim, hasn't it, around the outside, which is
it's
good.
quite nice. The pink and blue, I think pink and blue it's pink and light blue as a color combination is great. It's like a tiled effect, zigzag tiled effect.
That, you know?
Yeah. Tell you what, kudos on the player photos this year. Everything's just looking a lot smarter, isn't it, club wise? Like you're saying, the announcement of the kits and everything was really nice. It wasn't too over the top, very clean, really like good story to it as well, especially the third shirt. I really like that one, speaking to all the fans and stuff. But yeah, just looking at the players' photos this year, all looking really nice. Like,
it's like the background as well. There, I know we're digressing a little bit, but the pink background on the player photo works, doesn't it? Just little things, little subtle things. They've definitely upped the game this summer, and I think what's really good to see, and I think I've mentioned this on a different section of the pre-season review, is that people were worried that when we got relegated, people would lose jobs and quality would dip with things. Absolutely none of it. People have been employed, and good people have been employed, and Town have really upped the game in a lot of things. And it just makes you feel like it's a proper football club, if that makes sense. And I think Neil might have said this earlier, but stuff like that. It's really good. Right, Tom, I've got a contentious opinion. Just a quick mark for the goalkeeper kit there first.
Do you know what? Now I've really, that's the first time I've had a real proper look at it. I might get that eventually if it's in the sale at the end of the season.
Short sleeved as well. So, you can get
short sleeved exactly. So yeah, I mean 8 out of 10. I've been very generous with these scores today.
8 or 10. I'm not sure if Lee Nichols has been bench pressing all summer or whether it's quite tight fitting, but it fits. It's the fit. I always worry about the fit. Been having a back as wide as mine, it's all about the fit. But other things are quite wide as well, but I'll go with back. But so the kits, we like the kits. Well done, Huddersfield Town. I think people like it. It's really good. I mean, the proof will be in the sales, won't they? It'll have to go some on it to beat the Paddy Power kit without the sponsor on, which was a great shirt. Right, I think it's time for a contentious opinion.
Here we go.
I am very prepared to be in the minority here because I'm probably a bit weird, and I've probably been conditioned this way by my other half as well. But I just find, and I think this might be because I live in Leeds, and I see 50, 60-year-old men walking around the city centre on a Tuesday afternoon in the sunshine, wearing a really ill-fitting Macron Leeds kit, which doesn't do anybody any favours at any point. But I just think football shirts should only be worn if you go into a game, podcasting obviously, Tom, if you go into a game, going to the gym, or playing. I think if you wear football kits to go out generally, it's a bit weird. Like I say, I just find that a bit odd. I know lots of people do it, and lots of people think it's normal. Like I say, I'm in the minority on this, but I just wonder if I think football shirts make you sweat. They're designed to make you sweat, aren't they? So if you're just walking around Meadowhall or something with the missus or Trafford Centre, stinking the place up, it's just and it's not just Huddersfield fans, it's mostly Leeds fans, but football fans in general. I just find there's a time and a place, Tom, for a football shirt. That is where I'm going with that. I don't know if it's just me or whether I'll get any agree. I might put that as a poll at the end of this.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout. I mean, I'm happy for anyone to wear a football shirt wherever they want, to be honest. But I do agree with you to some point, especially when you go to the lovely city of Leeds. It's they're everywhere, aren't they? Interesting one here. Here's a one for you. What are your thoughts on football shirts on holiday? Because I think people do that as a thing, don't they? As like to let people know.
It's a form of peacocking, and it's not my style. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I did when I was like 18, 19, and you're going away somewhere, and it's like, "Hey, boys from Huddersfield," and I get that, and it's fun. When you get older, it's mostly targeted at people when they get older. To be honest, because football get fatter. Football shirts do not fit well. They don't fit well. They don't look good.
No.
So I veered away from wearing football shirts in my 20s when I got fat, ironically. But just, I don't know. I just, I think going on holiday, again, if you're going on holiday somewhere where it's sunny, you're going to sweat, you're going to stink the place up, aren't you? It's
especially in
nice white
I'm
t-shirt that reflects the sun. That's not a Leeds shirt. But no, they're not for me. I wouldn't take a football shirt on holiday. But,
well, they're trendy now, Matt. It's the trendy thing to do. If you go down to Brixton or whatever, or any kind of, maybe Brixton isn't even trendy anymore, but trendy part of London, all the kids are wearing football shirts. Yeah.
I mean, if you wear like a retro trendy shirt or one of those cotton-based ones, you can sometimes get cotton-based ones which are pretty cool, can't you? Again, stripes doesn't really work for me. If you're wearing a pair of jeans and a stripe thing, if it's plain, it looks a lot better. Like the England shirt looks a lot better with a pair of jeans, or the Huddersfield Town away one. But the stripes doesn't really work as like a. I know I'm not exactly Nicky Clark.
Well, I was just going to say that's why
his hair, but that's about it.
That's why they call you the Gokwan of football shirts, don't they?
Gokwan, yeah. But yeah, I just football. It's one of my weird football opinions that I just think football shirts should be limited to when you go to the game, to the gym, or so and so. Unless you're under 25, then that's all right. But anything, if you're a grown adult, I just think you look better in a normal t-shirt. Anyway, I'm gonna get so much hate for that.
Yeah, I mean, be interesting.
I'm gonna get absolutely pelted. Yeah, I'm gonna get absolutely pelted. I'm prepared for it. I'll cope. I might cry a little bit, but I'll cope. The division. There is a stunning shirt, Tom, in League One this season, which beats. The Huddersfield's away one is up there, but this possibly beats all of them. You've done a little bit on each shirt to look out for, haven't you? Some nice ones.
I mean,
I am tempted to buy Charlie this kit.
Can I guess which one it is going to be?
Everyone will guess it easy, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But go on.
It's the Cambridge one, isn't it? And it's
the Cambridge away
shirt. Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, Matt, all three of those, Umbro, Cambridge, knocking out the park. All three, I think, are really top quality shirts.
Yeah, I'll find it. I'll bring it up for those watching on YouTube. I'll bring it up. But is there any that have also caught your eye? The Wigan one's a bit naff. I know it's blue and white, but it's a little bit
naff. Wigan one. I mean, I've looked at all of them. Not really any that Wigan have tried to do. Umbro have tried to do a bit of a recarnation of, I think, when Wigan first got to the Premier League, haven't they? With that one, and it just doesn't work very well. Sorry, it's Puma. There's a lot of Puma kits in the league. Blackpool's are the most Blackpool-looking kit you could possibly like. If you could think of a kit to epitomise Blackpool, it's that one. So they've done very well on that. The Puma template is used a lot with a lot of the shirts in the league this season, though. So, and that's kind of one of them. The Blackpool, I think, Stockport, Northampton pretty much got the same shirt in different colours. Birmingham's shirt's very boring.
It's got the white stripe through the middle, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I think that works quite well with the sponsor, though. That
I think it does work with the vibe of that kind of sponsorship, doesn't it? Barnsley, interesting backstory to one of the Barnsley kit, and actually the third kit, the bright pink.
The stars.
They've actually reintroduced I don't know what their tag mascot's called, but he's
Toby.
just
Yeah, Toby.
Toby. Toby's on their third kit, and it was actually, I think it was designed by a company out in New York, so they did like a photo shoot over in New York for that one. So that's quite interesting. It's nothing special though, but yeah. Other than that, nothing else really stood out. The Cambridge one's just gorgeous. They're like they've done a proper good job with it.
We've got the Cambridge ones on screen here, haven't we? I mean, the home one is quite. It's just quite smart, isn't it? We talk about football shirts aren't really fit, in my opinion, for wearing socially. Well, depending on the social situation, you won't go to the pub in it, would you? In a football shirt usually, unless there's a game on, which is fine as well, by the way. Yeah, that's another. Okay. But you wouldn't go out in Leeds on a Saturday night, would you? Wearing a kit, it's one of those things. But the Cambridge home one's quite smart, that you can kind of wear smart. But that one is the beast, isn't it? The some people look at that and they'll hate it, and I understand why. They've sold this and they've got a bucket hat with it as well, haven't they? The Cambridge away kit.
It's a bit of a call to like the architecture around Cambridge. I think there's quite a few of this pattern that dot around and same with
green one's good as well,
the green one as well. The green one's really nice. Yeah, like I mean they're quite do you know what I mean? They probably have the best kits in the league. I think them first or second. So if for some reason the FA want to decide the league on kits, then we should be all right and get back to the Championship pretty soon.
Just going way out of kilter here, but have you seen the Loch Ness FC kits?
I have not. No, are they?
You've never seen the Loch Ness FC kits?
Is Nessie on there?
There's a I bought Charlie one or two of them, but they're just I think one of them, but they are essentially, I think they're a Sunday League team, but they've got somebody who's really good at designing kits. Yeah. And they've kind of gone famous across underground sort of semi-famous across a lot of kits, and they sell them and they all sort of sell out as well. And they tend to be really nice. I'm just looking for a couple of them online, see if I can bring them in at the minute. They've actually gone quite plain recently, but they do have like the Loch Ness monster on it in a lot of them, and they're really sort of really smart, and they're very different, and they're good for kids as well, because obviously there's the monster on them and stuff. They're really, really cool. The one I've got, so I'll bring you in now. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can probably see this, but if you're not, we'll do our best to sort of explain it. But Loch Ness here have got these kits here. So the one I got Charlie is this one. The one you can see it's got the monster across there, but that wasn't the one I wanted. It was the only one available. But they have some really cool black ones as well, which have got like the Isle of Loch Ness on there, and they've got I think the monster's on that the away kit here. You see it's that there down there. They've got really sort of funny sponsors, but they're just quite fun. You know what I mean? Quite fun kits. And if anybody can get your hands on one, they tend to go for quite a lot of money these days as well. Do the Loch Ness FC kits with the little Loch Ness on there and stuff. They're pretty cool.
Yeah, they're good. I mean, I think like someone who's kind of Stevenage have got something with like some patterns that like, I mean, I don't know if it harks to something in Stevenage, but there's a little bit like that this season, kind of that template at the bottom, a pattern along the bottom of the shirt. It's not a bad one, but I think pretty solid season for shirts. Annoyingly, I'd say Peterborough's away kit is one of my favourite shirts in the league. They've brought back the one of their old badges that just says posh, and it's on a nice kind of a grey cream shirt. It's they've done pretty well, annoyingly, with that one. I've
got the Loch Ness one back up as we're going, haven't I? But I quite like the little monster thing on the trim, which is quite cool. But they're quite good, and they've got a good sponsor now. They've got Great Glen Distillery.
Bloody hell! Cool. It's those little touches in it, Matt, and I think
for a Sunday League team.
No, I know. Little touches like that make kits just that bit more interesting.
Maketh the kit. You almost turned into Kinsman then, didn't you? Kits maketh man or whatever. But we'll move on now. So best in the division for you, Cambridge, and second place Huddersfield Town. I mean, that's automatic promotion. We'll take that, and that'll segue us through to our new signing. So thanks, Tom, for joining us on this one. That's your kit roundup from the preseason prediction. We'll get Tom's preseason predictions in a moment, and then we'll tag them onto that section. But Tom, thanks for joining us, and we will get your predictions for the next bit. Okay, thanks for sticking with us on the season preview. And we've got two young gentlemen joining us now. We've got Jay Singh and Joel Grainger, who are going to be here to talk about transfers. And the reason they're here to talk about transfers is because they are both new signings for Andy Takes That Chance. So Jay and Joel will be heading up a brand new show, which will run after the games, mostly the weekend games, where they will look at immediate post-match reaction. So welcome aboard, boys, and we're really happy to have you on board.
Yeah, delighted to be here.
Excellent. Exciting times ahead, so keep an eye out for that, and we will release more via social media as well when the boys will be going live. But you're here now to talk about transfers. So very much shades of January, Joel, in that Town made a initial flurry, didn't they, of signings that came in, and then they sort of needed a couple more, or there was a target, wasn't there, of a couple more in January, which never kind of was met, and so they used Brody Spencer, didn't they, as a signing kind of way, and I understood why. But Town have kind of had the same thing here, haven't they? There's the Alfie May deal, which unfortunately didn't go our way, for financial reasons. Birmingham came in and stole him away from us, and he looks a good signing for them because he's absolutely on fire in pre-season. But Town have brought in Anthony Evans, Lass Sorensen, Herbie Kane, and Mikael Miller, and we've done little shows on them if anybody wants to go and find them and tune in. But Joel, how have you seen this transfer window so far, and has anything stood out for you positively or negatively so far?
Yeah, well, I mean, you mentioned, last summer and January, we went into those windows sort of needing certain things, and in the summer we didn't address that at all. And I think come January, everyone knew that we had to do something, otherwise we'd be dead and buried by March. But we were still a little bit short, I thought, after January. The wing backs, which is a position we've now hopefully addressed, we were short. So it was good to see us coming in early with Sorensen, bringing in a player like him. Good statement of intent, I reckon. I think we're still a little bit short in certain areas, and I would have liked us to be a little bit more aggressive and really attack the market to try and get what we needed before the first game. But I still have faith that Evan and Co can deliver a complete squad come the start of the season.
Jay, let's have a look at who Huddersfield have brought in. I mean, Lass Sorensen was the first one. He was very much loved at Lincoln, and this one excites me quite a lot. He's adaptable in terms of his flexibility, and he can play in a number of positions. He can play right back, he can play right wing back, or he can play midfield. Is this one that sort of interests you or piques your interest, we should say?
Yeah, completely. I think it's a very, very solid and encouraging signing from Town. Like you said, he's very versatile. He can play in 2 or 3 different positions. And at age 24 on a 3-year contract, I think it is one that Town will look back and think that is a really solid signing. Over 100 games in League One. He was their Partners Player of the Year for Lincoln last year with 6 goals and 8 assists. And from what I've seen in pre-season, he looks very, very aggressive. He looks very sturdy, solid. He can get back and can get forward. And this is one that I think, Town have done really well on.
Joel, if anybody who listens to this podcast and if you say, what does Matt from the podcast always say? And Matt from the podcast loses himself at Huddersfield Town not being able to pass a ball 5 yards in a straight line every week without fail. See, I'm getting all wild up now. So, but Huddersfield Town look like they may have addressed this issue. Herbie Kane's come in on a free from Barnsley, and I believe this was thanks to the persuasive techniques of Michael Duff, because Herbie Kane did have a very, very solid offer from Derby County, and instead he's chosen to drive up the road to Huddersfield Town. And I think this says a lot, really, about what Huddersfield Town are trying to achieve, and also the ambition of the manager and the owner as well, really. And that Herbie Kane is, I wouldn't say it's a statement signing, but this is a player that could have gone higher, but he's chosen to come to Huddersfield Town because of what we're trying to do.
Mhm. I mean, he clearly sees a progression with Town, like signing that 3-year deal, staying in a league when he could have gone a league above. He clearly sees that when we hope to get back in the Championship, we'll be, ready to compete higher up the table than Derby County will if they stay in the Championship. I mean, Kane, from what we've seen already, he came with mixed reviews from Barnsley. I think his mobility was sort of said to be an issue, but from what we've seen, I mean, he runs all day, even if it's not that quickly. So, that does. His passing is, I don't think I've seen a Town player been able to manipulate the ball the way he does since Aaron Moy, and that's a bit of a crazy comparison to make this early. But when he's got the ball at his feet, the pitch is his, domain. He can do anything with it. Brilliant signing, I think, for sure.
I thought you were going to say the pitch is his oyster then for a minute. I was waiting for that. Jay, he's got a partner in crime as well, doesn't he, in Anthony Evans? And this is a player who interested Birmingham. Birmingham were very interested in Anthony Evans. Obviously, their fans denied it after the event, as they would. But this is someone who's coming. So Huddersfield managed to. They've done a lot of work behind the scenes. They brought in different recruiters as well, and they brought someone in from Bristol Rovers whose name just escapes me at the moment. But with came the name of Anthony Evans. And when you lose Sorba Thomas, and we'll talk about the outs as well later, when you lose someone like Sorba Thomas, it's very important as well to have somebody who can cover what he brought in terms of the set pieces as well. And we've seen a lot of positivity from Anthony Evans in terms of set pieces. And he also moves out wide as well, doesn't he? You could have seen it in the Bristol Rovers highlights, and you can see it in pre-season as well. He kind of takes up a position on that right flank at times, and his delivery into the area is actually really good as well. I'm excited by this one, and I'm generally excited by the midfield in general. But for me, this could be a sneakily good one, couldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Like you mentioned, the midfield, the resurgence of Ben Wiles in pre-season, obviously after a very hard season last year, it couldn't have been easy for any player. Evans adds a lot to this midfield from what we've seen so far. His set pieces they look absolutely brilliant, really exciting because, before Sorba Thomas, I can't remember from the top of my head a truly competent
You have to go back to Gary Roberts, don't you, really?
Yeah, it's a good 10, 12 years ago. But yeah, obviously Town do these teaser videos of the new signings, and when I watched Evans's, the thing that stood out for me most was his ability with a free kick, a corner, any set piece he can really take, and he's shown that in pre-season as well. Been unlucky on quite a few occasions, striking the woodwork with free kicks. And he's got very good EFL experience. 142 appearances for Bristol Rovers and 26 goals and 26 assists. And their player of the year last year. And as well, from a leadership perspective, he did fill in as captain for Bristol as well, Bristol Rovers rather, as well. So this one really does excite me, and I think it's a very, very valuable addition to the midfield.
And the last one, Joel, is Mikel Miller. Again, Town have beaten off Championship. I have to be careful when you say that. They've beaten Championship teams to his signing or his signature, haven't they? Plymouth were very keen on renewing his contract. We had Aaron on from Plymouth Argyle, the Plymouth Argyle podcast, and he sort of said he's very quick, carries the ball very well, but his end product is a little shaky. And I think we've kind of seen shades of that in pre-season, but I think a lot of that may change dependent on who Huddersfield Town bring in up front, because there are a lot of rumours going around about who we're trying to bring in at the moment. If we do manage to bring in someone like Joe Taylor, for example, we've seen the runs that he makes near post, far post, and all of a sudden the dynamic changes a little bit, doesn't it, when you've got a striker who can make those runs into...
Yeah, well, I mean, I've watched a lot of Joe Taylor. and the runs that he makes like, off the last shoulder of the defender, sort of diagonally across defences. Certainly he's the type of player who'll be able to get on the end of those balls. I think with Mikael Miller, he kind of he's an exciting player, and I think that's what Town fans want. They want someone who's like, when they're on the ball, you're going to get up off your seat, and you're gonna, he's going to take on his man fast, kind of in a Sean Scannell sort of way. And I think, if you can put some strikers in the box who are going to get on the end of his crosses, then, if he stays fit, that is, his injury record's not great. I actually do think Miller could quietly become a really good player for us.
And they're very similar players, I think, aren't they, Miller and Headley? So you can kind of see Town's thinking up that side, can't you? You can sort of see that it's not going to be a defensive wing back on that left-hand side. It's going to be very attacking, very attack-minded. And the change in style is welcome as well, isn't it? After, Mark Fotheringham's on another day 10-0-0 system and very defensive. Even under Neil Warnock, it was a lot better, but still Town very much 30% possession and would generally not have a lot of the ball. But it's going to be good to see Town sort of change tact there and be more attacking. But just on the subject of, we mentioned Joe Taylor, who obviously is the name linked by Alan Nixon at the minute. What else do you think Town perhaps need going into the new season? Because we are playing a back three system, which we have, trying to be kind, but we have a slower centre back selection in Tom Lees, Matty Pearson, and Mikael Hell. All kind of, they're not going to be in the Olympics at the 100 meters, are they? But you've also got Brody Spencer, who's got speed, and unfortunately, Radinho Balka is injured. Midfield wise, we're just we've rebuilt as well. What would you look for in this team? So how would you get Huddersfield Town over the line? What do you think gets Huddersfield Town over the line from now to the end of the season in terms of players?
I think, like you said, Matt, we've got not the kindest of defences when it comes to raw pace. This was particularly highlighted in pre-season with the 4-2 loss to Aris out in Austria, where Town played with a relatively high line and were exploited several times with one pass straight through the back line. And you wonder whether League One clubs are going to have the same quality to pick a pass straight away and split our defence in half. Regardless, it's still a bit of a worry for me. And our defenders have brilliant qualities, but pace is one thing that does worry me, especially if we are going to, play with Duff's preferred formation, which is a 3-5-2. Our wing backs have been signed for the not sole purpose, but the focus of getting forward primarily. Now, I do wonder whether, and I know it's going to be tough, whether Town think about or have thought about making more additions, maybe for young defenders with a bit more pace. But I think if we were to be quite picky, obviously to cover for Bolker as well, you'd want maybe another defender.
About you, Joel, you've done a lot of good work on Twitter this summer with players you've thrown down. One of the ones that you quite fancied, Lewis Brunt, I think went to Wrexham. Did he in the end? You were quite all in on him, weren't you? And I think Zach Jules has gone to Rotherham as well. I think he came up on, I don't know if it was you or someone else that he came with. There are other defenders out there. Town do lack a bit of pace, but up front as well, there are names you've thrown in up front as well. If the Joe Taylor thing doesn't happen, how many strikers do you think we need? Is there anyone else you think would be suitable for us?
Yeah, well, it's a difficult one because you want to bring in, ample quality, but then we've already got Reece Healy. Who knows what's going on with Radulovic. Karoma, he'll probably expect to play a fair chunk of games. So if you bring in another striker, there's like 4 strikers there who'll want to be playing football. And then if you add another striker into that mix, you can only pick 2, and then you've got 5. But I think Joe Taylor would certainly be one I'd go straight in for. Like he's got everything you need at this level and everything we need to succeed. He's pretty much Alfie May, just 10 years younger. If we can't get Joe Taylor, I think it's not looking very good, really, in terms of someone with a League One pedigree. You'd probably have to take a gamble on a youngster like a Ballard or, someone of that ilk. Yeah.
Fair enough. So that is how Huddersfield Town have shaped up in terms of incomings. In terms of outgoings, are you upset by any of them? We can read them out very quickly. Brahima Diarra's left. He's not really got himself fixed up yet. Delano Bergzorg was a loanee, obviously, but he's signed for Middlesbrough, which did surprise me a little bit that he's might get fall on his feet there, considering his form towards the end of the season. Yuta Nakayama's left, which was a shame, really, because in this Duff system, he would be an ideal player, wouldn't he, in that back three, if fit. Sorba Thomas has got a loan move to FC Nantes, which can be made permanent at the end of it if he does well. Tyree Simpson's gone to Stevenage, which will come back to haunt us in the first game of the season. Ben Jackson's gone to Barrow. Aaron Rowe has gone to Gillingham. Jordan Rhodes to Blackpool. Conor Mahoney, remember Conor Mahoney? He's gone to Barrow as well. And then Jack Redoni is the headline one, isn't he, for going to Coventry? And Town have done quite well financially out of that as well, with a fee of around 5 million and more to come if he is successful at Coventry. So I'm not overly upset by any of the ones that left. It would be nice, wouldn't it, if Jack Redoni have stayed, but he's been here and done that before, and obviously has his eyes and his heart set higher. Sorba Thomas, again, he's obviously going to want to get back into that Welsh squad, isn't he? And playing in League One at Huddersfield is probably not going to be the best way to go about that. So I've got no qualms with him going. I mean, Sorba Thomas learning French and fitting in to FC Nantes does feel a little bit. It feels like he's got some way to go there. I mean, I really genuinely hope he flourishes, because the money at the end of it could be decent as well. But other than that, I think everything else is quite sensible. There's nothing really, Jay, that makes me weep into my cornflakes in the morning.
No, none for me as well. I mean, obviously not permanently. Berg's always with us, but to sign a 4-year deal at Borough is a gamble, so to speak. Diarra, there was always potential with Brahima, but like Warnock said about Kamara, there's potential there. If he doesn't want to play, don't play for my team. And I think that was probably the similar sentiment with Diarra as well. Nakayama, plagued by injuries. It's a shame, because you could tell, he's a decent lad. He just got his head down and wants to play his football. Thomas, like you said, the monetary fiasco at the end of his loan, if it was to turn permanent, would be interesting to have a look at. Simpson, he was different, wasn't he? He definitely offered something else. Whether he will be successful, we don't know.
High maintenance. I think we say high maintenance, wasn't he?
Yeah. And Ben Jackson, it was clear that he needed to play football again with a smile on his face. I think he did say that quite candidly when he first signed, for Barrow just last week. He did say, "I just want to get back on the pitch and play with a smile on my face." I think he was quite open about his struggles with mental health. Obviously, a result of the really, really dark, and it must have been awful for the players last season. It must have been quite a struggle. So, we wish him all the best, because he was, a really good lad, and I just hope he gets playing his football again. Aaron Rowe, all the best. Jordan Rhodes it's sad, because I think he deserves to get to 100 club. 3 goals off. Probably me and Joel grew up with him wheeling away in celebration every week. Conor Mahoney didn't work out, obviously, and Jack Redoni, you don't blame him, do you? He's obviously got quality that even Premier League clubs were looking at. Coventry's a great fit for him, because under Mark Robins, who is, by far the longest serving manager in the league, the stability there is really impressive. And playoff final a few years ago, they've got something really quite special building there, and I'll be interested to see what the clause is if they do get promoted. If we get a percentage of money or whatever, but all the best to him. And it was clear he didn't want to be at the club, so in football you just move on, don't you?
Yeah, I'll tell you offline. I'm not allowed to say it on the air. But anything that you're worried about, Joel, in terms of outgoings? I mean, Delano, like Jay said, Delano Bergzorg's a gamble that I don't think Ivan Toney would make. But there's not a lot going on there, is there, that to worry about yet? I mean, a Mikael Helik might change that, might it? But again, one thing we've discussed elsewhere is that the sale of Jack Radoni has actually enabled us to replace the unit, in midfield. Would Mikael Helik allow us to, tweak and alter the back three unit? Because at the minute you've got Helik, Lees in that three, and those are two centre backs really that ideally want to be your middle one. And even Matty Pearson as well. That's three, isn't it? Your three most experienced defenders are mostly central, and then your wide options are Ruffles, who's mostly been a left back or a left wing back during his career, and a central midfielder earlier on. You've got Ollie Turton, who can play as a right-sided spare man, but again, he's more right back. And Brodie Spencer's still very young. We all love Brodie Spencer on the podcast, but he's young and he's learning, and he's playing on the wrong side for his preferred foot. So there's a lot there that I think opposing analysts would look at and say, this is how you hurt Huddersfield Town. So would maybe selling a Mikael Helik benefit us in the long run, do you think?
I mean,
probably not, but
nah, not for me. Like, he's the man. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's our man. Like, I cannot remember.
You're not going to start singing George Michael or anything, are you, Joel? When you almost broke into that, didn't you? Yeah.
There was one game where like the ball was bouncing towards the goal. It had beaten Nichols, and he just came from absolutely nowhere and played it. And I just thought, like, that is Held. That is what he does for us. And you can't replace someone like him, especially this late in the window. So, selling him is not the answer for me. No way.
I'll be able to find out which game that was, because I remember using a lot of Lord of the Rings memes when he did that. It was like, "You shall not pass," and the bridge of Khazad-dûm or whatever it was. Yeah,
I could not believe that.
The block, it was insane, wasn't it? I mean,
yeah,
there weren't that many good. There weren't that many good moments last season, but that was definitely one of them. That block, insane. He's a massive favourite of mine. He's Mikael Helik, and I wouldn't want to lose him. You feel that we might lose him if we're not serious or more serious about getting promoted, or if we end up not being serious contenders, I should say, next season for a top spot. Then January may see him potentially move on if he's playing well and fit. And you couldn't blame the guy if that happens. I mean, last time he dropped down to League One at Barnsley, he was in demand, even though he had an injury at the time, and Town came in ahead of someone else whose name escapes me at the minute. But again, he's a quality centre half, and if he's on form, then there's going to be no one better, is there, in the league? And I think that's obviously something that Town could hang the hat on. It's just a shame that Radinho Balca picked up that injury until next year, because when you look at that back three and the wide centre backs that he obviously wants to deploy at certain points, Balca has the pace to cover certain things. And when Jay's mentioned the crossfield balls against Limassol, which have pulled the defenders out of position, Radinho Balca is your man there for covering that sort of area and moving from central to wide areas very quickly. But we don't have them. Plenty still to go in the window. We're recording this on the 6th of August. There are 24 days from now to the end of the window. There could be some happy times coming in, and there could potentially be a couple of tears if we do lose a Mikael Helik. But boys, thanks for jumping in, and we'll get your predictions in a moment for the end of the season. The new podcast, then, we're quite excited about this. It's a new show that's going to be kicking off, and I think there's a lot of things to iron out, isn't there, Jay, so far? And I think a lot of things will probably appear over the season, or things will settle over the season into a format, isn't there? So it's a case of bearing with us all as we get there. But these are exciting times, aren't they, guys?
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, stick with us. both. Obviously, this is our first appearance, so we'll kind of get the gist of it, and hopefully we're going to be bringing some much happier times to you guys, because, you know, last season and the 5 or 6 seasons before that, since the Premier League, have been
Since we started this podcast,
sort of-
essentially, Jay, is where it
Maybe
all
that's
went
the
wrong.
problem.
Yeah, we used to
Yeah.
blame the Thomas Gummersall, the guy who used to do the vlogging. You know, everyone used to think it was him who was the Jonah, but no, it's us, unfortunately, because he stopped, didn't he? But there you go. But no, great guys, thanks very much for that, and we look forward to seeing what you guys can bring during the season.
There's a team that is dear to its followers. The colours are bright blue and white. They're a team of renown, and they're the pride of the town. And the game of football is their delight. And all the while upon the field of play, thousands loudly cheer them on the way. Often you can hear them say, who can beat the town today? And then the bells will ring so merrily, and every goal shall be a memory. So town, play up and bring that cup back to Huddersfield. So town, play up and bring the cup back to Huddersfield.